So today I'm going to be speaking to you and with you about Team Rubicon. I'm the Global Director of Business Operations for Team Rubicon Global, and Team Rubicon itself is a veteran-led, veteran-founded disaster relief humanitarian organization that seeks to provide veterans with an opportunity to continue serving. Team Rubicon Global has a slightly different mission, in that it's a bit of a global hub for the Team Rubicon network. And Team Rubicon Global seeks to launch and establish new Team Rubicon country units while also supporting those country units in their development to deliver disaster relief and humanitarian programs, and programs that engage veterans within their countries. I did skip over the first thing I was going to mention, and it's true to my military tendency, is that I do have like 4 or 5 things to cover. First off is a mission. That's done, so we're good to go. The second is a bit of a history lesson about Team Rubicon, and that should take about 13 minutes. And the third is the theory of change, which is really the important piece. And I feel very, very privileged, by the way, to be speaking with so many fantastic people, many of whom I know from previous conferences and previous lives. And so speaking to a theory of change and ultimately the impact of Team Rubicon, I think fits in with the evidence-based approach that we're all speaking about today with regards to programs. And finally, I'll just leave some food for thought, some ideas to hopefully inspire some conversation. So Team Rubicon, I've mentioned Team Rubicon, the Team Rubicon Global, and the Team Rubicon Network. The network includes a number of nations. Team Rubicon USA was the first Team Rubicon country unit to come on board in 2010, and it was founded by a handful of veterans who saw the disaster, the earthquake that struck Haiti, and they said they wanted to do something. They'd looked for opportunities to deploy with the larger humanitarian organizations at the time and couldn't find any organization to actually take them. So true to form, they assembled a group of medical professionals and they deployed themselves to Haiti. And over the course of that experience, they would return to the United States and establish Team Rubicon and Team Rubicon USA. Other organizations in the network have come online in the last few years as a result of the proven success of Team Rubicon USA and how it's engaged veterans and communities of service in disaster relief and humanitarian operations. Those nations include Team Rubicon Canada, of which I helped found, Team Rubicon Australia, Team Rubicon United Kingdom, and most recently Team Rubicon Norway, and we're working with the Netherlands to launch there as well. Now, the real nugget and kernel of truth behind Team Rubicon is the opportunity that the founders of Team Rubicon USA uncovered in that initial deployment to Haiti. And they realized that if they took a group of people with the skills and experiences and attributes, which everyone has sort of touched on, so I won't go into much detail here, and then provide them with an opportunity, a conduit to continue serving, they found that the veterans and those other members of the communities of service excelled in the chaos that often would strike communities as a result of disasters. So in Team Rubicon's growth and evolution in the last 8 years, because it's still a very young organization, they realized the potential by focusing on the veteran as an agent of change and by providing that individual with a little bit of training and support, that individual could have tremendous impact on their communities. Now, a little bit about the theory of change that we really sit with, and I'm going to use my hands for a moment. So we take communities of service, including veterans, first responders, which include firefighters, paramedics, and police, as well as anyone who really actually wants to give back and comes from a community of practice, which frankly sees the value in giving back to their communities. We're a diverse and inclusive organization, and we provide them, the Team Rubicon country units, provide them with an opportunity to serve through a few distinct programs. One, of course, is disaster relief and emergency response, which is quite immediate. When a disaster strikes, Team Rubicon is able to assemble a team and quickly deploy. But we also see, with the evolution and growth of the Team Rubicon network, other Team Rubicon's investing in capacity building and long-term projects in many different countries across the world. So those are the two core programs. There's also a very important wellness and community engagement program, which within every single country, Team Rubicon seeks to engage veterans, not just through training in disaster relief and humanitarian protocols, but also just by providing them with a sense of community. And this really comes to the big point that I want to underline here, is that we seek to provide veterans with a new tribe. I feel like half the things I'm saying have been said already, so I'm sorry for some of the repetition here. But it is through disaster relief that we find veterans rediscover a sense of purpose through service. They find a community in deploying with other individuals with similar or not too dissimilar backgrounds. And ultimately, they regain a refreshed identity. And it's so simple to say in some ways, and say community, identity, and purpose, and you can say that over and over again. But it is something that takes a lot of effort in actually manifesting. And I came to Team Rubicon through my own interest to launch Team Rubicon Canada. And I realized by working in the Canadian veteran transition space that the simplicity of the idea is what makes it so beautiful and so wonderful to potentially implement in one's own country. So going back to the theory of change, we take communities of service, we provide them with programs within their own countries to continue serving, and then the impact is this, we like to call it a dual value proposition impact. And we don't just provide veterans and those who serve in Team Rubicon with a sense of community, purpose, and identity, but we've also found that the communities that we serve benefit tremendously as well. So there's a dual value behind Team Rubicon and where we operate by engaging volunteers and providing them with a sense of purpose, identity, and community, but then also ultimately and most importantly, helping people who are having their very worst days. This, in essence, is the social connectivity that we've all discussed and that Team Rubicon, and I'm very privileged to be speaking on their behalf, really invests in fostering within veteran communities and other communities of service. The impact is quite impressive. In the last 8 years, I mentioned we have a global network of 5 and soon 6 nations with approximately 75,000 volunteers. 5,000 or more or less have deployed in the last 8 years on approximately 230, 240 missions. And that has been to approximately 25 countries. Even just last week, actually, Team Rubicon Canada conducted one of its first independent operations in a small community that was impacted by flood. And it was a small effort by way of, if in the Team Rubicon world, it was a handful of volunteers with chainsaws clearing out a forest that had been decimated by a flood, and then a flash freeze, and because it's Canada, then another flash freeze, and then another snowstorm. And so having small groups and activating these communities of service within different countries has been one of my greatest pleasures and honors in working with Team Rubicon, seeing this all come together. And this is where I'll start to talk about and to wrap up with a little bit of food for thought. So I've had conversations in the last couple of years with veterans from many different countries. And I've realized that regardless of uniform, regardless of where we served, regardless of when we served, we have a common core to us all, a desire to continue serving. And in many different countries, I have found that the opportunity to serve is not necessarily apparent. That's, again, speaking to my own experience in Canada, where I wanted to give back. I had a good job, but I still wanted to do something more. So obviously, I helped to start a veterans charity, and just a year and a half later, it all works out. And that is obviously not, not the easy part. But this is something that binds us all together. And Team Rubicon Global seeks to extend that idea of Team Rubicon and the success of the Team Rubicon country units to other nations of the world. I actually head the launch program at Team Rubicon Global, so if you have questions and approximately 45 minutes, I'm happy to discuss this with everyone later on during a break. The second food for thought here, the idea is looking beyond the veteran as someone who is either a hero or a victim or mad, bad, and sad. And that's something that Team Rubicon is ingrained in Team Rubicon, to look beyond the injury, to look beyond the challenges that might be presented within that individual, and to tap the potential opportunity to bring that individual through, whether it's disaster relief, whether it's a training project, whether it's a community service project, to provide them with that opportunity to redefine themselves. It's really hard, I appreciate it, it's very hard to walk beyond who you think you might be. But Team Rubicon seeks to provide you with that pathway to find yourself again. And the third is to really emphasize and underline here is to recognize the potential opportunity of the veteran as a civic asset, as an agent of change within communities. We've discussed various concepts of veteran transition and the holistic approach, looking beyond just getting jobs, but reinvigorating and rejigging that purpose and identity and providing them a sense of community. And within that, Team Rubicon has recognized, along with many other nonprofit organizations, that invigorating the veteran can provide multiple benefits, not just within the organization itself, but within the communities they serve, and for other organizations that work within the system. I believe I'm actually going to be speaking again tomorrow, so I'll press pause there, and thank you for your time. And I do encourage you, please approach me with any questions. I'm happy to discuss at length. Thank you.